Welcome to the deep dive. If you want to understand how a complex machine works, sometimes you just have to take apart a completely toxic engine to see how the gears of radicalization actually turn, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to get in there and see what makes it run.
Right. So today our mission is unpacking a critique of how fringe groups build social and religious legitimacy. We're looking at a source document that analyzes a video by a group called the Great Millstone, or GMS. And just to be crystal clear right up front to you listening, this source contains some highly charged political, racial, and gender-based viewpoints.
Very charged. Yeah, it's intense stuff.
We are absolutely not endorsing or taking sides on any of these explosive viewpoints. We are strictly and impartially reporting on the rhetorical tactics analyzed in the text. So how does a group actually go about building a worldview rooted in such extreme hostility?
Well, to build that engine, they need fuel. And the best fuel, the most reliable source for that, is a really profound sense of victimhood. They achieve this by systematically dehumanizing their perceived enemies. For example, the source highlights their linguistic erasure of women.
Wait, linguistic erasure, like just removing the word entirely?
Yeah, so instead of using the word woman, they substitute in purely derogatory terms. They frame them as witches or liabilities, or literally a waste of space if they aren't serving a specific subservient role.
Wow, so just actively wiping out the basic humanity of an entire group.
Exactly. And they pair that with a very specific grievance narrative regarding Black male victimization. They explicitly blame feminism and what they call Esau, which is their term for white people, for emasculating them.
Right, I read that part. They even twist the whole happy wife, happy life concept, claiming it's literally just a tool of white supremacy.
Yeah, it's all externalized. By blaming external forces for every personal struggle, they entirely remove the need for any internal accountability.
Because if all your problems are caused by this global conspiracy, you don't have to fix yourself.
Right, you just have to fight the conspiracy.
And there's this one quote in the analysis where they describe modern society as a weak, jelly bat fucking man culture. I mean, by painting the outside world as that pathetic, aren't they really just selling a cheap superhero fantasy to disenfranchised men? Like, join us and get your superpowers back.
Oh, absolutely. That superhero fantasy is the core psychological draw here. The extreme patriarchy isn't sold to these followers as oppression, it's sold as a necessary defense mechanism.
Okay, but once that really hostile defense mechanism is established, how do they prevent new recruits from second-guessing it?
Well, you make it bulletproof by wrapping it in a divine shield. They weaponize religion through selective proof texting.
Right, so pulling very specific verses out of context to fit their narrative.
Exactly. They pull from 1 Corinthians 11, 1 Timothy 5, and Sirach to frame this rigid misogyny as God's undeniable plan. Yeah, so they escalate normal human interactions to a cosmic level. A simple relationship disagreement isn't just an argument. They claim a woman simply talking back is literally committing blasphemy.
Committing blasphemy? But wait, if I'm a potential recruit, wouldn't hearing that every minor misstep is blasphemy just, scare me off? How does that aggressive harshness work as a recruiting tool?
You would think it would push people away, right? But that's the paradox of radicalization. To someone who feels entirely alienated, extreme, unfiltered harshness doesn't sound toxic. It actually sounds like the first piece of authentic truth they've ever heard.
Oh, I see. Because polite society won't speak like that. The harshness itself becomes proof that it's valid.
Exactly. They think, well, if polite society is lying to me, the guy screaming the ugliest things must be the only one telling the truth. And that dynamic isolates the followers into a really tight bubble.
Where the group's elders become the only trusted source of information.
Yeah, it completely cuts off the outside world.
So why should you care about the specific rhetorical tactics of one fringe group? Because recognizing this calculated blend of grievance politics and selective framing helps you spot how echo chambers are constructed anywhere in our modern information landscape.
It's the same blueprint, whether the group is political, religious, or anything else.
Exactly. Once you see the architecture of radicalization, you don't get trapped inside it. But I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder today. If extreme harshness is increasingly mistaken for authenticity by people in these isolated communities, how might that change the way society attempts to communicate with individuals who are deeply entrenched in those ideological bubbles?